How's it going, folks? It's Lobo and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have the very first episode of Moon Knight. It is finally the premiere and I'm very excited to be starting this series. But before we go into my routine pre-discussion where I talk about all the things I know, everything I'm excited for, my essential basis that I begin every single new series with now, I just want to mention a few things before we get into that. And starting off, if you know, a couple weeks ago, well, not a couple weeks ago, last week I released my first video that I have done in about a month's time, and there I said I was getting back on track with things, and that is still correct. So for those of you who watched my Daredevil series or my The Boys series, you can find the links to those in the description because I'm back with those reactions. The Boys actually released yesterday my reaction to another episode, and of course this Sunday you can find my new video reacting to another episode of Daredevil. Don't worry, I'm back on track with those and I'm very excited. I didn't want to discontinue it. It was just because of that boy behind us. It just jumbled everything and I couldn't stop watching the movie, and I was just sucked in by the aura of it. And I was also super lazy, which I still haven't gotten past. So I'm sorry about that. And also next week, I know I said this week, but unfortunately that's just not possible for me to do because I'm somewhat playing hiccup with everything. But 100% next week on a Friday, we'll get back to my X-Men reactions. You can find one of those every single Friday starting next week. And then after that, I'll switch to other movies. I made an entire little laundry list of movies I haven't seen. I wrote about 70. So there's going to be a lot of movies. I'm literally covered all the way into next year. And we know with Multiverse of Madness, there's going to be some sort of mention or connection to the X-Men. So even if I do one per week, I'm still going to try to get out all the movies before I watch Multiverse of Madness. So potentially, I might go beast mode and we'll have 2 X-Men movies per week at the end of April, beginning of May. But we're just going to see how that pans out. But I really think I'm going to have to do that, which is going to suck. But I'll bang these movies out and then we'll start a new sort of set series of movies. But on top of all that, I actually passed 1,000 subscribers a few days ago, which is pretty awesome. That is such a big milestone for any YouTuber, regardless of their intention. So I just appreciate everyone that is stuck around and actually enjoys my content, and more so just likes to engage with me in the comments, because I love to talk about this shit. I'm just a fan doing all this for fun. So I appreciate everyone that has found an interest, or at least leave a comment or anything, or express their own opinion. And I just truly appreciate that, guys. And I would just love to see how far we can go, and also more of your opinion down in the comments. I love to see what you guys think. And of course, starting this new series with Moon Knight, I'm very interested because I know that there is not the biggest fan base for this, because this is, to my understanding, I know there have been some animated shows, but this is like definitely the first live action appearance of Moon Knight. So I'm excited for that side of the fan base that's going to get their time to shine, so to speak, with finally Moon Knight being brought into the light. And more so for fans that aren't aware, Marvel fans, superhero fans, any fans in general like myself that just were never exposed to this character, because this is quite literally going to be my first exposure to the character. So that has me very excited and very optimistic about the show. I've heard a lot of great things, and sort of the negative reviews of the show are what makes me excited. Things like, oh, it's too dark, or it strays too much from sort of the iconic formula of action and humor, like a more sort of relaxed approach to where it's focusing on storytelling and really getting the psychology of the character and being a bit grittier and darker. I'm like, those are the things that I'd like to see. So I'm very excited for that shit. And also, just again, before I begin, we're going to begin shortly here because I pretty much know nothing about this character. To my understanding, it deals with more the magical / supernatural side. I've really only seen the 2 main trailers. Those are, I think both reactions are up on my channel. I'm not sure if you want to find them, you can. They're on my channel. But I was pretty interested. I'm like, yeah, this looks cool, but it's nothing that got me really excited because, again, this is my first exposure to the character. But doing somewhat research, I try to leave it for the series. But based on what everyone has said about the trailers and Oscar Isaac playing the character, from what I gather is he has split personalities to where one is Mark Spector, I think that's his main sort of side. Then the other one is Steven or Stevie, one of those names. Originally, I thought he had about a dozen personalities, but I guess I was wrong. And then also his sort of persona when he's in his suit, when he's Moon Knight, that also has split personality to where it's Moon Knight and then I think Mr. Knight, and he's more refined. He kind of looks like a weird version of Deadpool in a like tuxedo or suit and tie. So very interesting from that standpoint. So yeah, Just gonna have to see what this is about. Also, one other thing I would like to mention is I think I know this takes place, I wouldn't say London, but I think it takes place somewhere in England. He potentially works at a museum. He's somewhat aware of his condition, but there's something more going on with the supernatural side. And an Egyptian god who I unfortunately cannot pronounce the name. If you know me with my channel, one reoccurring theme throughout all my videos is my inability to alliterate and just vocally say anything correctly. I cannot do that. I'm terrible when it comes to pronunciation, and especially when things are sort of stemming from the main form of English language. Whenever we get a little bit of flair, I have difficulty. I have not mastered my only language, which is English, so it's hard for me to do other things. So to the best of my belief, I think his name is either Khonsu or it's Khonshu. Konoshu. I think it's Khonshu. Now I'm confused. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I think it's Khonshu, but it might have been Konosu, but I think it's Khonshu. But anyway, that's very cool. Having an Egyptian deity and reflection of the moon and this sort of other side of the MCU. It just all sounds very exciting. I can't wait to get started. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, again, these are always, I do these before the series begins. And of course, the next episode will not have this. We'll just pretty much jump right into the reaction. So here we go. I'm very excited to get started. And I think I mentioned everything. Also, Ethan Hawke is playing the villain, I think. So yeah, cool. Let's do this, man. I'm excited. Those Crocs, though. I was like, damn, his character is very tidy. And then he just smashes it. Okay. Great introduction to this character, man. Oh my god. I can feel that from here. You know, I heard some people say if the iconic intro wasn't there, then you would have no idea this was set in the MCU. So it really feels self-isolated. I'm like, that's a nice approach. I wish we could get more of that. Is that sand around his bed? Oh, it looks like a crescent moon.
It's me.
Gus.
Checking in. Hey, mate, still selling the old brushes and brooms, right? Right in front of my entrance. Got no problem with it.
He's doing a pretty good accent. I know Oscar Isaac is a phenomenal actor, so he's not disappointing so far. I mean, just putting on the voice.
Big metal hook, right? And you'd go up the old nozzle and all the organs would come out except for the heart. Stephen.
No, you're bloody useless unless you're actually doing what you're paid to do, which is to sell these to children.
Thanks, Torsia, but just checking, we still on for 7 tomorrow?
7 tomorrow. Are you asking me out?
You're funny.
Oh man, it reminds me of someone.
The super group of Egyptian gods, you know, you got Horus, Osiris, Tefnut, Shu.
Stop, please. If this is some weird audition to tour guide here, the answer's still no.
No, what I'm trying. That's actually crushing to hear. But what I'm trying to.
He's passionate about his job. Well, the job he really wants. Hope he gets it.
Yeah, right.
Damn, look at that security, bro. You see those monitors? High tech. I mean, it's a museum after all.
I don't even know about it until I wake up wherever. Why try and stay awake at night? What you think? Nah.
Oh, it's not a real statue.
I will see you on the fit flop.
I wonder if he's Moon Knight already, or if he sleepwalks.
Imagine being in the story you're reading. Is there an exciting chapter you'd like to be a part of? Was there an exciting chapter you'd like to be a part of? Just remember, you'll need about 5 hours to story time.
Oh my god.
Oh, what the hell? I was like, yo, it looks like his jaw's broken.
You're not supposed to be here.
Yep, I completely agree.
I know I've heard that voice before.
The idiot's in control.
What?
Don't just stand there. Run!
I know I've heard this voice actor before. These people look bugged out. Well, that would explain why.
You're a brave man, offering your soul for judgment, wanting to serve our goddess even before she wakes. This is the face of a good man.
Oh, it's red this time.
I'm sorry. I wish you could live to see the world we make. Yet Amit has decided.
We think so, yes.
Dua Amit!
Oh, bollocks.
You.
My name's Stephen Grant. I'm trying to get back home, back to London. London. Don't know why I'm saying it like that.
Stephen Grant of the gift shop.
I'm not. Come on. It's not. Don't know what's happening. There we go. Just take it.
Dude, this reminds me of The Amazing Spider-Man when he's like, Flash, just take the ball.
No, the idiot's back.
God,
Yo, he killed them.
I'm just gonna go. They're gonna kill me.
I love the song choice. Wow, look at this guy. He thinks he's cool because he can jump from car to car.
Wake up, Mark. If he loses the scarab, I'll kill you both.
I don't understand.
Is he driving in reverse?
Did he just throw the gun?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Bro, what the hell is going on, man? That must mess with your head if you went through something like that. I know this is definitely way exaggerated, but... He thinks it's a dream. He has two fins.
What the fish?
That's not Gus.
Look, as I said, they've all got two fins. I don't care what that Nemo movie says. You
I completely forgot the parallel to Nemo.
You're not quite right.
Oh, bugger. Bugger, I've got a date. Sorry, I've got a date.
Oh no. Man, his life is chaos, literally.
Look like a knob. Yeah, it's not looking so good, is it?
What, did he get the day wrong?
Time.
Yeah, I ate steak by myself, thanks. 2 days ago.
What? I thought we said Friday. Today. After Thursday, doesn't it?
It doesn't change the fact that today is Sunday, which means lose my number. Cheers.
Sorry. What day is it today?
Why, it's Christmas Day.
No.
What cut would you like? Center cut's fillet. And how'd you like that?
Good. Yeah, very good. Very good.
I can tell it's very taxing on him. Just not knowing what's real, what's going on.
Anyway, I'll tell you more about it tomorrow. Love you. Laters, gators.
Imagine if his mom wasn't real and he's just talking to no one on the phone. That'd be like a crazy mind melt. Because that's what the show is kind of doing. Even more so than I thought it would. What if the scarab is in there? Oh, is this gonna be the shot from the trailer when he's like, why'd you just call me Mark?
Yeah, all right.
That's it? I've been texting and calling you for months. You couldn't give me any sign that you were okay?
Who do you think I am?
What do you mean, who? What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark? Hello?
Yeah, I'd be going insane if I was in his place. That would be so freaky.
Hello? Stephen. You need to stop. Who said that?
Damn, his place is really big. He has so much space. Oh, it's gonna do the trailer shot. Or not. Oh, that's creepy, man.
Let's go.
I feel so bad for him.
Electrical problems in the building, isn't it?
Always the same, isn't it?
Man, she looks scared of him.
He's expecting me.
Bro! What the? Oh my god! Dude, this poor guy! Steven deserves better, man. Yo!
Oh my god.
Oh, it's Arthur.
This man right here, he's been following me. No, I don't know. Where's Amit? Thank you. Ronnie.
Do you know Amit?
Do I know Amit? No, not personally.
Amit surveys the whole of our lives.
Got it.
Past, present, future. She knows what we've done and what we will do.
Great.
By indolent fellow gods.
Oh,
By even her own avatar.
avatars. Blue people. Love that film.
By avatar, I mean
Anime.
Stephen.
I saw you kill that woman in the Alps.
I only told her what millions more will soon learn. Do you want to know the truth? There's chaos in you.
There's what?
Let him go.
I thought for sure it would turn red. I mean, he killed a bunch of people, even though he wasn't really awake for it. There's chaos in you. That makes him a Scarlet Knight.
Donna? JB? Pets allowed in the museum.
I was gonna say it sounded like an animal. Is it gonna be the? I think this is like a werewolf in the series. There was one in the trailer. It looked like. Oh shit, man. Oh, that was sick. It was in the reflection. Oh, don't hit it down. Don't hit it down. Yo!
I can't have you fighting me this time. You need to give me control. Do you understand? What control of what? What are you talking about? Real. No, you're not real. You're not real. Stephen, you gotta give me control. It's the only way.
Look at the music, man. Holy shit, what a first episode. That was hot. Man, a lot of people are saying this was one of the best introductory episodes to any Marvel series, and I think it's up there. It might be first. I mean, I'd really have to think about WandaVision and Loki and just sort of everything else, but very, very interesting series. we're going to talk about this like in 5 seconds, but just fresh off the bat, this is very intriguing. I have a lot of questions. Well, I knew I was going to have some for this series because of its premise and what the idea of what it was going to be, but now that I've actually watched it and I'm able to understand things, it just raises so many more questions that I have. So all right, so there was the very first episode of Moon Knight, and as I was saying, I have a lot of questions, and just to start off, I'm wondering what I asked during the video, like how long has he been Moon Knight? Because it was from my understanding that this show was sort of going to go into his origins. The way the trailers were shot led me to believe that we would literally see him become Moon Knight, like his transition. Maybe he went to Egypt and discovered a relic or something, because I knew he worked at a museum, so I didn't know he was more so like the gift shop worker. I thought he was going to be like an archaeologist and actually go on dig sites and stuff. I don't know why I thought that, and I really thought it was going to be something like sort of like Indiana Jones, where it's quite literally discovering an ancient artifact, but then they're going to go sort of mythological and supernatural to where it was cursed, and then he like accidentally touched it or something, then got possessed by the Moon Knight spirit. I have no idea why I thought that, but this is literally the somewhat polar opposite, to where nope, he just works at sort of paraphernalia, giving out gifts, well, not gifts, selling things, clothing, advertising to children. It looked like he wanted to be a tour guide because he's very, very knowledgeable and he seems to enjoy it. So I'm like, I hope he gets his dream job. But then also, he's just completely, as a character, not what I thought, because from what I understood, I knew that he was going to have sort of split personality, but now I'm not too sure if it's literally split personality to where it's like one side and the other, because he sees the other one in a reflection, like he's communicating with him. So I'm wondering if it's kind of a weird draw, but it really reminds me of Cyberpunk, to where it's V and Johnny Silverhand, and it's just like he's in your head and somewhat takes over your body when he wants to, when you let him. So I'm like, I know it's a weird comparison, but just like here, it's different, because I thought it was going to be more so that he's aware of his personality, but he can't stop it, and it sort of ticks in. But it's more so like he wasn't aware. He thought he had sort of trouble sleepwalking, so that's why he tied himself to his bed. But it's like really, he goes out with his other personality and does all these things for like days, and then he wakes up completely somewhere else. So from what they were saying is I think her name was Lila, or not Leia. I think it was Lila. She was saying that Mark has been missing for months. So this has been going on a while. So that's why I was asking, has he been Moon Knight? Like, is he already Moon Knight, or is he going to become Moon Knight? So fitting the pieces together, he's been Moon Knight for at least a few months, if not more. But then I'm wondering, how long has this gone on? Has he always been having this condition? Has he always gone through this? Has he been born with it? I know you can easily sort of answer based on like the comics and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't mind an answer if you know, if you're a passionate Moon Knight fan. That'd be nice for me to know. But I feel like it's a little not tricky, not confusing, but I just wish they would elaborate more on it. I guess that's sort of the mystery of the show, because it definitely left you feeling in the place of him kind of stepping into his shoes, where you're like, shit, what is real? What is going on? Because it would transition from scene to scene to scene, to where you're understanding that he's not really living in the moment. Rather, he's living in the sort of crux of where his personality is going. Blah, blah, blah. Just go. He's more so living in the narrative of where his personality takes him. It's really following the steps of Mark, and then Stevie just is like having the leftovers, to my understanding. Him being called I think he was called an idiot by, again, I'm going to try to guess his name correctly, Khonshu, to where he was like, yeah, he's an idiot or a moron or whatever, to where he was saying that they need to put Mark in rather than Steven. But then, as I was saying, with the comparison to Cyberpunk, it makes me wonder, who is like the dominant side? Who does this body really belong to? Was it always Steven, or was it Mark? Where did Mark come from, or where did Steven come from? Or were they always there, and then something happened and they got sort of possessed, became like a conduit for an Egyptian moon god? Like, I'm wondering like how this all fits together, because slightly confusing, but it's just, they did it in a way where it's intriguing, rather than you need to be like, give me the answers now. It's more so like, wow, trippy, interesting, such a psychological blend. I'm enjoying this. Like it's just, I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but it's very enjoyable from that standpoint. But it just makes you itch for the answers, because as to myself, I'm really, with things, I'm always naturally curious, and I would just like to know explanations, and just so for my own understanding. So when I'm presented with this, I'm really like, oh my God, I need to know what's going on, what's real for him. But that just adds to the drama a bit, because it makes me anticipate, it makes me excited. So I'm very excited for the next episode, but then also makes me wonder again on that connection and how, well, why did his fish go? Was his fish ever real? That's why I'm wondering, is his mom real? Like, is he actually talking to someone on the phone? Because he talked to the guy that when they imitate statues, they do it for money, like the public performance where he pretends to be like the frozen statue gold, but he was having a conversation with him. Not that that's like really out of the ordinary, but technically mainstream audience and people, like the general people, will kind of coin that as a bit odd that he just talks with this guy, because I get the feeling that it occurs more than once. But everybody needs an outlet. But again, it just makes me wonder to, man, I'm getting the hiccups. It just makes me wonder to how real is reality, because he doesn't seem to have any real physical connections. Again, we have the exposure of his mom who's over the phone. I don't know if we've actually heard her voice, so it could be something to where she's not even real. She's been dead for a number of years. And then he doesn't really have any friends, what it looks like, because again, he was talking with the statue guy. Missed the date by 2 days because he thought it was Sunday, or he thought it was Friday rather, and it was actually Sunday. So he fumbled that. And you sort of feel bad for him going off of that, because his life is just complete chaos, but it's out of his control. He's trying to decipher what is actually happening. I mean, they say there's chaos in you. I wonder if that was like quite literally because his life is chaos, or more so it has to do with that magic or whatnot. Very interested. Again, this all ties in with a lot of mythology from what I'm understanding. I'm not too familiar with Egyptian deities and that mythology and that whole sort of pantheon of gods. Pretty much everything I know about Greek and Norse mythology has come from the God of War series. So I'm like, yo, when are we going to Egypt? Because I somewhat know Egyptian gods. I'm like, I would love to fight Anubis and Horus. And I think like the Egyptian God of War is Set, I think, possibly, but I've never heard of Ahmed, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and then of course Khonshu. It makes me wonder if those two were completely written in Moon Knight's comics, or they're actual like legitimate gods that ancient Egyptians and somewhat present day worship. Like, I'm wondering how legitimate is that versus when it just completely transforms something for the sake of a story. So, as I said, what I gathered from that with Arthur is he's sort of, you could almost call it like a cult. He has his following, has a very weird scale system on his arm, a tattoo, and it looks like crocodiles or alligators holding the scales of judgment, so to speak, and then he puts the cane in between and it rocks. Like, you could see the scales tipping in balance. I'm like, that's a very cool and interesting idea. But then he also says that Ahmed is good and they would have prevented such atrocities that occurred in humanity. Like, they, from my understanding, they're caged and he wants to set them free. But I'm just like, well, you just kind of know from there that it's not, like, it's going to be deceitful. I'm getting the feeling that Ahmed is like secretly evil. I mean, that's just pretty much how it always is when it comes to like these storylines and stuff. But that also makes me wonder for Khonshu too, because I'm pretty sure he threatened to kill Stephen if he didn't give, if he didn't hold on to the scarab. He said, I'll kill both of you. I think he was referring to Mark and Stephen. So I'm wondering, like, again, are they two personalities, two different people, one body? Like, what is going on there? But then his power system too, it's kind of really reminded me of sort of being the right hand of a figure, like kind of going back to God of War, to where when Kratos was the champion of Ares, like it feels like a legitimate sort of branch of the power set of a god. Because Moon Knight, he slapped the shit out of that creature. I thought it was a werewolf, but it looked much more Egyptian. I know Egypt has its own form in their culture of like what monsters look like and stuff, and I know a lot of them have to do with sort of the depiction of somewhat looks like a cat, but also more of a hound rather than being a wolf. I mean, very cool. Again, I would love if God of War explored culture and all the mythology. That would be so visually and sort of just to engage in that. I always love and find these things fascinating. But again, it was just a very cool design, but I'm wondering, well, you kind of know that Arthur sent it, so really going into more magic and power here. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. But then from how scary it was, Moon Knight, when he was in the Moon Knight form, bodied the shit out of it. So I'm like, yo, how strong is he? I think Oscar Isaac, I saw in an interview somewhere where he was saying, I forget who it was. He named like a pretty notable, it might have been a villain. I think it was a superhero, honestly. And he's like, yeah, Moon Knight would beat them in a fight. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, I'll have to see that for myself. But he looks strong as shit in this. Yeah, of course he's going to have some sort of magical power set. He jumped from building to building in the trailer, like very far. So, I mean, he has the cape and sort of like a batarang almost, to where it's the crescent moon, but it comes out and then he catches it. So I'm like, he looks very cool. And I'm very excited to see more of this. But again, I'm just wondering everything so far, because it's very sort of psychological, very trippy. Love the camera shots in this, the way they sort of pan reflections through. I'm like, which one am I looking at? And how his reflection, like his other personality, lingers too. But also the camera shots to where they were working with the creature when he was fleeing it. They never showed it directly initially. It was only through the reflection of the glass in the museum that you saw it. So I'm like, oh, I love the camera work. Very suspenseful, and it's just a very unique approach to things. So from every facet, I love how they've constructed this series so far. It feels very unique. And again, what everyone was saying originally, to where if it didn't have the iconic Marvel intro, you wouldn't really understand that this is set within the MCU. And I'm like, yeah. They kind of made a Disney joke with Avatar. It's like, which one? The anime one? The one with the blue people? I love that movie. Like, it's funny, but there's been no real Marvel connection. And I kind of like that. And I kind of prefer that. I like that they're focusing more on the story and the character-driven story. And I appreciate that a lot. I'm not saying I hate connection, because I'd be a liar. I love when they do cameos and connection and stuff, but it's nice when you have an unknown character and you build upon them before you really introduce them to the larger picture. And from what I can gather, they're taking that route. So it's working out well. And I hope the future episodes follow this format. I know a lot of people, well, there were sort of the bigger reactors than me, of course, and more so like media and stuff. Like everyone who is somewhat important in the public, they got to see this shit like a while ago, but they only saw 4 episodes. I'm like, if I was in their standpoint, I would rather just wait so I can watch everything every week rather than just watch 4 and then not have the final 2 episodes. But that's just me. But it's funny because some people are saying, wow, these episodes are really good. In episode 4, I heard a lot of people are like, damn, it's the best one so far. But then they don't have episode 5 and 6. So makes me wonder about the trajectory of this show. I don't know. I think it's going to be all very exciting, and I'm very excited for it. Again, it was a very good first episode. I think it's honestly, out of MCU specific shows, I think this might be the best first sort of introductory episode. The only one I can think of that would rival it really is maybe Loki. WandaVision is my favorite MCU show right now. Even more so than Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye. WandaVision was my favorite, but the first episode was way different. Of course, every series, it's not really fair to compare them, but I'm just saying for the most amount of intrigue and sort of like, boom, this series takes the cake for being like an explosive sort of real heavy hitter first episode. Like it really catches you with the idea of not knowing what's real, the psychology of it, but then also the allure of the magic and the history and sort of the darker themes. So very excited for this future. Again, I would love to know what you guys think. If you want to explain a bit in the comments, that would be perfectly fine. Again, I'm sure you haven't seen future episodes. So if it's not really spoilery, then please feel free to leave a comment and just let me know. If any one of you could help me sort of unravel the mystery of his personalities, I would very much appreciate that. But I'm also just curious in general, just to see if I could figure it out on my own. But I don't think so, because they'll go over it. Because it's funny too, because as I was saying, he literally was kind of meeting Mark for the first time, to where he's like, oh, you're not real, you're in my head, this is all just a dream. So I love the way they're doing this. It's very, very much melting your mind, and I'm getting a lot of hiccups, so I'm going to stop right here. So again, hope you guys enjoyed. On Sunday, you can catch my next Daredevil reaction. Next week on Friday, another X-Men movie reaction. Of course, on Wednesdays, we have The Boys, and there's going to be another series I'm going to start, but I don't know if it's going to be this month. So yeah, if you are interested in that content, stick around because I'll be dropping it, of course, on time. I promise. So anyway, as I said, hope you guys enjoyed. And until then, I will catch you folks in the next video.